What's goody, Hot Breathiverse? Welcome back to Hot Breath, the show where you learn comedy from the pros. I am your host, comedian Joel Byers. And over 400 interviews on this channel, our mission is to cultivate the next generation of great comics. We're interviewing today's great comics. And our guest today, what started as an experiment during COVID to just post a sketch every single day while we were going to be quarantined for what he thought was 2 weeks, ended up into a viral sensation with millions of followers across all platforms to now touring with live shows. And it all started with a table. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hot Breathiverse, Mr. Ben Brainard.
Hello.
Right.
Hi. Thank you for having me.
So, yeah, we were having a great conversation before I interrupted to do this intro. So let's rewind back to where we were. You talked about first off consistency, but also like finding a niche, something you're interested in, something you're educated on.
Right.
Go.
Yeah, so that's very important because there's so much out there, right? And if you're just a guy who does stuff, you're not really exactly giving people a specific reason to want to tune into your stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, if you could do guy who does stuff, but also like is weird and quirky and has all of the screenshots to back it up. Like that is that's still a niche. Like it's just such a broad thing, but you've made it specific because of your personality there. Like I have friends that I have a friend who does like God and Gabriel creating animals and whatever. Like that's a very specific niche that he does. And he's found different ways to make it broad and all encompassing, but it's all started with him playing a God character, him playing a Gabriel character, and shenanigans ensuing. Mm-hmm. Like I have a friend who's he goes by Youth Pastor Ryan. He's not a youth pastor. He just looks like he should be.
Can do that.
And and he just does he does stories. He just tells stories in his car, but he talks at like lightning pace and just insane shit happens. So he's made that kind of like his niche. Whereas I am the states guy. I dress up as all of the states and sit at a table and talk about how nobody's doing well. Like that's just the niche that I've found, and I've found ways to make sure that I've gotten like so much stuff involved as long as I've started with that niche and worked kind of outward from it.
How many did you explore? Because for me, I'm a comedian. I've been doing it 12 years. Mm-hmm. I can do stand-up.
Right.
But social media, it's like a whole other language, and people are posting crowd work clips and whatnot, and I'm like, how can I stand out from that? And it's a Wild West out there.
Yeah, I would also suggest posting your stand-up clips for sure. Crowd work is always hot because crowd work tends to be funnier in that moment, and it's also you're not burning any material by posting crowd work, but you're also not gonna hurt yourself by posting a 30-second clip of a polished joke that's like 3 minutes long or whatever. Mm-hmm. So people seeing just that little bit of a longer thing is not gonna burn your material. Another thing that I've learned doing this is that a lot of people have come to see me multiple times. And that's always been like a weird fear of mine. Like, you're just going to come see the same jokes? Like, I'm not going to write a new hour every time you come to a show. This is not how that works. And they go, well, it's kind of like, you know how you would like to see your favorite band perform live, even though you've heard their stuff a million times and you want to go see them perform multiple times? It's the same thing. So you got to think of yourself more as like, they just want to hear the hits. Like I'm AC/DC on tour right now, and I'm just gonna play "Life Is a Highway" over and over again. Like this is all everybody wants to hear. Is I'm gonna do "Thunderstruck" and "Life Is a," and like just all of the greatest hits because that's what people want to hear, even though they've all seen it before, they've all heard it before.
Is it state stuff though?
No,
it's
my
like stand-up.
Yeah, my stand-up is about me and my life and my stories and all that, and then my state stuff is just online. Like I don't bring that on the road.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so I have two completely different things, and I still post my stand-up online as well. Mm-hmm. The state stuff got me to a place where no matter what I post at this point, like it'll do well enough. But like the stand-up clips still do really well. And I get a lot of comments from people that are like, oh, I didn't know the States guy did stand-up. And I'm like, yeah, the States guy did stand-up before he was the States guy. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, for how long?
I did like 2 years of improv when I was living in Daytona Beach, and then I moved to Orlando, and I tried to do improv in Orlando, and they were all like, no, you have to take our class and spend $200. And I was like, what if I want to do this for fun? And they were like, no, we don't we don't do this for fun. And so that's what kind of pushed me towards stand-up. So I did stand-up for 3 or 4 years, I think, before the pandemic hit.
Okay, good. So you had some reps. You weren't starting fresh.
Right. Yeah. And I was featuring by that time. And I
Great.
had like enough to fill 45, but I wasn't headlining anything but like off nights at bar shows or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
So I was featuring pretty consistently at that point when it hit, and I just had so much more to write after I got big. I was like, oh, no, I have to. Okay, cool. This is fine. I can do. Yeah, no, I can do an hour. Absolutely.
How many followers did you have? Like, start a pandemic, you're like, all right, I'm going to do a sketch every day. And like, so how many followers did you have when you started that?
I didn't have TikTok.
You didn't have TikTok.
No.
Whoa.
I think if I did have TikTok, it was just like a couple weird random videos that weren't like
Right.
funny. So maybe 100 followers, you know. And I went within 6 months. I went from basically nothing to 1 million and verified.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
So was the first thing you tried the state stuff?
No.
Okay.
No. Like you touched on, I was trying to do a sketch every single day for the entirety of quarantine. And so it was just anything I thought of where I was like, I think I can make that funny. Because trying to put out a full 1 minute sketch every day takes so much time and effort. And so basically I just spent all day trying to think of something and then write it and then film it. One of my sketches that like I thought was big before I stumbled into actual virality was I did a sketch about Voldemort as a baby and wizards playing I Got Your Nose and then actually taking his nose and then just, oh, whoops, I have to go. And that got like 50,000 views and I was like, oh my God, this is it. Like I'm famous now.
Yeah.
But then everything else kind of failed after that. Like I couldn't find anything that would work. And then I finally, day 13 was I dressed up as like 5 of the states in the government. And I was like, let's just make fun of Florida. And that's basically what it was. And it took off. Like I had 100,000 views that day. And then by the end of the day, I think I had like 500,000 or 600,000. I was approaching 1 million views within like 24 hours.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
So then the next day you're like, okay, let's do another Florida sketch.
That's exactly what I was like. Well, the next day I actually had something that I had already written and filmed, so it went back to just some random bullshit. Day 14 was just some random bullshit, and then day 15 I was like, I have to do that thing again. So day 15 I posted another sketch about Florida's responding to COVID with Texas, New York, California there, and it did well again. And I was like, I'm just gonna keep digging at this gold mine until it runs out. And here we are over 2 years later, and I'm still digging at it.
Dude. So, like, for someone, let's say, like me, trying to figure out finding my niche, like I have stand-up clips I can weave in and things like that. But, like, are there certain questions that I should ask myself to, like, discover maybe even things to start doing a sketch is about to test?
I don't know if there's anything you really should ask yourself. I kind of lucked into the Florida thing. So maybe I'm not exactly the best person to ask about like how to get started other than just consistency. Putting something out every single day, if not multiple times a day, you're going to have an easier time finding a thing that blows up if you put out 1 million things, Now, that being said, don't make them all 1 million shitty things. Like, I'd rather you do, like, 1 good thing a day than 10 mediocre things every day. But I think a good place to start is to find the people online that you like, whether it's the sketch artists or the comedians, whatever. Find the people that are famous online that you like now and figuring out what it is that they're doing that maybe you can do as well. And this is not to say be a hack and do what they're doing, but you can definitely take tips like, watching a sketch comic online and going, they're doing multiple characters, but it's just one guy talking to himself. Maybe let me try rearranging a thing so that I'm talking to myself, off camera. Oh, this guy talks lightning quick and has a bunch of graphics. Maybe let me try that one. Just a bunch of little things like that where you can go, I like this style. Let me see what things from it I can take and turn into my own thing to help my platform grow.
Okay. Yeah, the only thing I found to work right now is like I've done like because this show's comedy education, like it's a lot of educational stuff. So I've done a few like video essays that have gotten like a couple 100,000 views.
Sure.
But it's like I'm in front of a green screen. It's a lot of editing. It's like
It's a lot of work.
It's not sustainable to do every day, and it's
Exactly.
not promoting me as a comedian.
Right.
It's like it's something separate. Yeah.
If you're gonna, here's like a couple. I think these are fairly general tips that I can give, and these, if it works for you, it works for you. Sprinkle it on top of things, see what happens. But quick. You need to be quick online. You need to have something to grab their attention within the first 3 seconds, but you have to continue to keep their attention. When you're on TikTok, it's so easy to just move to the next video. You have to keep gradually having their attention. So very quick edits, very quick cuts, that's something that works very well. Like when I first started, I had a lot of like my sketch lines were multiple lines for a character, and I learned very quickly that if I'm going to have this guy say this many words at one time, I have to throw in different reactions in the middle of the sentence just to keep that quick cut game going. But now I kind of write my lines a lot quicker, so now it's very fast-paced, jumping back and forth between the two people. So if you're going to do something like that, make sure the edits are quick, make sure the cuts are quick and hard, and have multiple stuff happening. You don't want to just itch one part of the brain. You want to itch the rest of the brain, too. I say that in the least creepy way possible.
Itching the brain. That's the social media advice. Itch the brain.
Itch the brain in multiple parts of the brain. Frontal lobe, backal lobe, whatever, all the lobes.
So, like, how long, if, like, we're posting every day, it's like, how long do you take to, like, write a sketch and then editing the sketch? The whole workflow of it.
It's a very involved process. Now I have people, like I've hired editors and like social media managers, so I don't do anything anymore other than write and film, and it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
But before I had that, which this is all very recent too, I would probably take like an hour to 2 hours just researching the thing that I was going to be writing about. And then I would take like an hour to an hour and a half to write. But a lot of times I wouldn't think of anything to write immediately after doing the research. So I would have to research it and then fuck off for like an hour or two. And then as soon as like the first thought or the first punchline or whatever hit, I was like, okay, here we go. And I would write that, and then everything else would just kind of fall into place after that. And it would usually take like an hour to an hour and a half to write. And then it would take me about an hour to film. And then probably anywhere from like 3 to 10 hours to edit, depending on what it is specifically that I was editing that day. So roughly, like, I'd say 6 hours on average to edit. And then probably another hour to 2 hours to make all the posts scheduled to drop and make sure everything goes well.
Is this every day?
It was a lot of the days. It was many of the days. In the beginning, it was a lot quicker, but it was also I was doing a little bit of the process every single day. Now I'm at a point where I write a 3-minute long sketch that is actually 3 1-minute sketches.
Brilliant.
With like a transition line in between them, so they all flow together when you watch it all together, but they can be split down into the 3 1-minute sections.
Just
for
3
the
minutes
shorter
for
things.
Facebook monetization, right?
Yeah, 3 minutes gets you. Well, you can do anything over a minute on Facebook gets monetized, but 3 minutes is their mid-roll ad cutoff, which shoots your CPM up from like $7 to like $25.
Yo.
So you're getting way more money back just by hitting that 3-minute mark.
All right, yeah, we'll get into the business of it, but let's keep getting to the nuts and bolts of the creative process. So it's like that's why I wanted to ask you that, because I think people just see a video and they're just flicking through your account like, oh, there's another one, haha. It's like, oh, there's 13 hours, there's 9 hours, there's
I'm
17.
tired all the time. I am so tired, but it's worth it, because it's the tired that doesn't make you sad. Because there's like tired from working your day job all day, and you get home and you're like, I want a beer and I want to sleep. But this tired is like, I'm happy, like I did that, I get done with the day and I'm like, let's hang out with some friends and fuck off and, play games or whatever.
Yeah, and you started like where you were as well, in terms of like you started like recording on your phone, you edited on your phone, you built up to where you are now. So if someone watching this, it's just like start wherever you are and then start building incrementally.
Start where you are and just start. That is the only actual piece of advice anybody can ever actually give you is just do it. If anybody ever tries to give you advice outside of the realm of like just do it,
right,
they're yanking your chain. Like they don't know what they're talking about. Gary Vee, his only piece of advice should be just do it.
Yeah.
The only other real advice I can give is find every outlet to just do it at. Because people start at TikTok, and all of my friends that I've met through TikTok, they just did TikTok, and they would come to me and they'd be like, how are you making so much money? I'm like, oh, well, there are other things other than TikTok. I post the exact same video on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and Patreon and like Snapchat and everywhere. If I've been given an outlet to post the same video, I post it. And these other platforms give you way more access to monetization.
Do you have a tool that you can upload and schedule everything to, like to all the platforms?
All the platforms have their own thing.
Okay.
So I would film. I don't film inside of an app.
Okay.
Which is good advice there. I mean, sometimes there's a lot of features that help inside the app. Like TikTok has a pretty good in-app recording system, but if you're trying to post multiple places, you don't want that watermark on there. So either you got to pay for a service that'll remove the watermark, but it'll give you like a lower resolution video, or you film on your phone outside of the app, film on a camera outside of the app, edit it on your computer or whatever, and then like Facebook allows you to schedule posts. Twitter allows you to schedule posts. Instagram, I think, is you can schedule a post, but you can't schedule reels. YouTube, you can schedule videos and shorts. Everywhere allows you pretty much to schedule stuff except for like Instagram Reels.
Gotcha.
So there, I just set an alarm on my phone every day to go off at the same time, and then I can set a draft, and then I just go into the draft and hit post.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I've gotten to a point, dude. Sometimes it's like I've cut up some of my stand-up clips and stuff. They're on my phone. I'll get all the way to like almost posting it, and then just like, oh, never mind.
No
like,
drafts 2022.
No. Hashtag no drafts.
No drafts 2022. That's what I've been telling all my friends. Anytime they make a dumb video and they put it in the drafts, I'm like, I can't post this. I'm like, no drafts 2022. Post it. What's the worst that could happen?
There's like a mental, I don't know what it is though. There is like a mental block.
This is another question I ask people all the time, because I hate asking what's the worst that could happen, because if you ask the wrong person what's the worst that could happen, they'll end up dead in a ditch somewhere. What's the best that could happen?
Yeah. I like
Everyone
that.
sees it and they like it and you get booked?
I like that.
So I think you start asking yourself what's the best that could happen.
Ooh, I like that. Okay. It's like I've interviewed a few social media people, and it's like, all right, this is the time. And I'm sure people have listened to other ones, and they're like, now after
Gross.
this episode, I am going to start posting every single day. And then maybe like 3 days later, I'm like, well, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
not.
whatever. I think outside of like posting, you just need to actually make a schedule for yourself, because if
okay.
you're not good in the real world, like if Joel's not Joelin correctly, you're never going to Joel correctly online. And if this is a thing I tell people all the time, if it's not bringing you joy, it won't bring anybody else joy either.
Okay.
So you got to find a good schedule for yourself, and start as general as possible. On Monday, I want to write this. On Tuesday, I want to film this. On Wednesday, I want to post this. It's a lot easier to keep up with that than it is to be like, okay, I'm up. What are we going to do today? You know, it also helps. This thing that I do is I like to, every night before I go to sleep, I'll get a notebook and I'll just write a list of things that I need to do tomorrow morning. So when I wake up, all I have to do is get that list. I get breakfast or whatever, relax for a minute, and then I just start crossing things off the list.
Okay. Maybe crawl before we walk.
Yeah. If you can't fly if you haven't grown your wings yet.
That's a good point.
I just made up that thing right now.
I was gonna say, you're full of these quotes, dude. You need a book
listen,
or something.
I shouldn't. No, I don't have time for a book, but maybe an audiobook. How about a podcast? We could do a podcast.
Perfect.
Yeah.
What was life before like the virality? Like what was the hustle? What was the day job? Like what was your mindset?
Day job. Okay, so I was working a little bit on a food truck. I would do like lunch shifts on a pizza food truck.
Nice.
Sometimes I would drive for Uber occasionally. I was living in just a bedroom at my aunt's house in Orlando. I was sleeping in my car occasionally. I would say yes to everything. I was just, as a feature, I was booked every single weekend from January until October of 2020. Until, March happened.
Yep.
But that was there are a lot of people in Orlando, I'm sure, that could what's the word I'm thinking of? Back up this story. I I would never claim to be the funniest person in the room, but I would always try to be the hardest working person in the room. Because in comedy, in most arts, there's like 3 things that you have to be, that you could be really good at to be successful. You only have to be really good at 2 of them. Any 2, pick 2. You can either be really funny, really hardworking, or really nice. Pick 2, and you will be successful. Now, you can do all 3. You can be nice, hardworking, and funny. You don't have to. You could be a dick if you're really funny and really hardworking. You could absolutely be a dick. But, you know, if you're hardworking is so self-controlled. You can choose to do that one. Being funny is subjective. You can write better and learn how to craft jokes better, sure, but like at the end of the day, there's still going to be people that don't like your jokes. And being nice is another thing that's fairly subjective. What's nice to me is not nice to other people, and what's mean to me is not mean to other people. You know, I grew up in Florida. You can be mean to me, and I'll be like, that's a funny joke. And I'm just like, I'm completely unaffected. But if I say that shit to somebody that grew up in, like, Denver, they'd be like, why are you like this? I don't, and it's just a different thing. But hardworking, that's so self-controlled. So I chose to be that one because that was the only one I could control, and I knew that.
Even if it meant living in your car.
Yeah, I've slept in a lot of, like, nighttime security truck stops just on highways. I'll just drive until I find one of those, and I'll pull over and I'll sleep. I'm also small. I'm only 5'5", and I had a hatchback, so I'd put the back seats down. I fit perfectly from the trunk to the back of the front seat.
You make it sound so luxurious.
Yeah, well, yeah. Luxurious is one word, and I don't know if it's for this.
Well, living on the road, there's definitely there can be some ups and downs there. Is there? I always ask comics on here like their worst like bombing story or like getting booed or just crazy show.
Oh man, they all happen in Florida, which feels it feels right, you know, that it happened in Florida, but it feels wrong that we're talking about me living on the road and just like they all happened within an hour of my home. Man, the other thing is I have ADHD. So I don't really remember a whole lot of stuff. Like, I know I've bombed terribly, but I only remember, like, a couple of them. There was one time at this club in Cocoa Beach, Florida. I was kind of like their house MC without calling myself the house MC, you know? But, like, at one point, there was just nobody that wanted to work there. So it was, like, me and 2 other guys would just trade off the weekends, basically. And it was so bad. And I remember one time they had like Thursday night shows there, and it was like in the winter time. So a lot of people there were just on vacation, but only 12 people came to the show because it was just such a dismal gray day out. And it was so cold in Florida. Oh. And these people came from like Minnesota or Michigan, and they were like Florida vacation. They came and it was still just 40 degrees out and windy and gray, and they didn't want to be there.
Say they're happy, yeah.
Yeah, neither did I. And they showed up to this club. Nobody sat up front. They were all like scattered. It was a room that could fit like probably like 150, right? And there was 12 people in there just scattered about. There were several people there alone. Like it wasn't like a pair here and a couple there. It was like one random guy up right here and then another guy like over there. And they were all just arms crossed. They did not want to be there. And this club would ask the host to do 20 minutes up top.
Ooh.
20 minutes for the host, 30 minutes for the feature, and then a full hour from the headliner.
Ooh.
Yeah. They wanted a 2-hour show. And so I get up there, and I'm like, immediately, I'm like, this is not going to go well. And so for 20 minutes, I just told the worst dick jokes to a bunch of 12 people that did not want to be there, and not once did anybody even, like, uncross their arms. And I got off stage after I introduced the feature. I got off stage and I just said like, "Good luck." Like that's all. And bro, all 3 of us were just fighting for our lives for that. And me and the feature just sat in the back and went, "I guess we don't have to do an hour."
Yeah, exactly.
And that was like the only saving grace that we had was just like we don't have to do an hour right now. The other one, God bless this place. I don't do comedy anymore. It was in Homosassa, Florida, at the High Octane Saloon, and the stage is like high. So like a person standing upright, their head is like just at the stage floor. Oh boy. And there's no tables near the stage. They're all like pushed back. And it's inside this giant aluminum shed, basically. I don't know any other way. It's a warehouse.
Incredible.
It's a giant, just aluminum, high ceilings, wide walls. There's nothing like in the middle that'll stop the sound from echoing. So already immediately the sound system is terrible. The stage setup is awful. All the tables just kind of like go back and off to the left, and then behind all the tables are pool tables that they did not shut down for the show.
Oh boy.
So the whole show, every show, there are people just playing pool and laughing and joking and fucking around. And then after the show, there's like a cover band, like a Rush cover band would play every day after the comedy show. And nobody gave a shit about the comedy show. They were all just there to see the Rush cover band. And I don't want to say it was always a Rush cover band. Sometimes there was like a Tom Petty cover band, but that was the kind of brand that was playing.
Right. Yeah.
And the stage was just covered in like NASCAR memorabilia. There was like doors from actual race cars like on the wall. There were just some like random neo-Nazi signs that were like well hidden in there. It's exactly what you think of when you think of Homosassa, Florida.
Yeah.
And people couldn't give less of a shit about the comedians on stage. I remember one time the band got there late, so they couldn't do like setup and sound check before the comedy show. So they just started doing setup and sound check during the comedy show while I was on stage.
What?
And I was hosting, and I was just up there doing my just trying to survive, honestly, at this point. And these guys just walk up on stage and start plugging in their guitars and start like strumming and like checking microphones. They would unplug my mic a couple of times just to see if
While
it
you're
like
doing
worked.
stand up.
While I'm doing, so I just stopped. I stopped telling jokes. I was like, I don't know what you want from me. I stopped telling jokes. I just started announcing what the band was doing. And I just stayed up there until they were done because I'm like, I'm not going to introduce the feature or anything while these people are up here fucking around. So I stayed up there for like 20 minutes just announcing what the band was doing. And then after they finished, I just told one dick joke because I was like, this is all this crowd wants.
The Hail Mary.
Yep, I told a dick joke, and I got them to laugh at that because it was probably a sympathy laugh. And then I brought the feature up, and as I'm coming off, there was like this old guy that like called me over. He was like, "Hey, come over here," and I was like, "Yes, sir." And I like leaned over, and he just blew smoke in my face because it was still smoking indoors. This wasn't like 10 years ago. This was like a few. This was I could count the number of years on my hand, and they had smoking indoors. The guy just blew smoke in my face. And then smacked me on the ass, and then like I started walking away like sexual harassment, I think. I don't know if these people know that phrase. I don't know if they've ever heard that phrase before. I think they still call it flirting. I think that's what they refer to it as. And then his wife called me and was like, I'm so sorry about him, and then just kissed me on the cheek and then smacked me on the ass too. And I was like, I guess it runs in the family. I don't know what is happening here. And then I just walked off. I was like, I don't know what is happening. And that is for sure the weirdest and worst experience I've had doing comedy.
And as a host, you're maybe getting like $50, I guess.
Yeah, it was $50 to drive an hour and a half out of the way to get my ass smacked by two old white people that still smoke indoors in Florida. They're probably alive still. They're probably going to live to be 114.
Yep.
Both of them.
Welcome to comedy, kids.
Yep.
Anyone that's thinking about doing comedy, like every
Stay
comic
home,
has.
post your videos.
Yes. That's why social media is so important now, because people are like, well, I don't want to go live in my car and get sexually harassed in a NASCAR bar.
Right, but I'm still here.
Yeah, and look, I mean,
Yeah.
it all paid off.
I mean, I'm in a hotel now. I don't have to stay in my car anymore, but some days I still do.
and this is this is a hotel.
Yeah.
Like the doors are on the inside. There's like,
Where else would that be?
well, like the motels, the door's on the outside.
Oh,
like
okay,
the
that's
shady
what you
ones.
mean. Yeah,
that's what I mean
okay.
by that.
I was like, yeah, the door would stop the outside from being inside.
One place put me up in a hotel where the Uber driver literally was like, "Oh, you're staying here?"
Oh shit!
yeah. It was known to be like a drug den or something like that. Yeah.
That's nice. You should sign up. This is general advice for everyone that wants to do. Sign up for every travel thing.
Mm-hmm.
I am a Hilton Honors member. I am an American Airlines member. I'm a Delta member. I'm a JetBlue member. I'm a Southwest member. I'm a Enterprise member. I have a membership with Amtrak. I have like every public transit app downloaded on my phone right now. Like I have LA Metro, I have Chicago Metro, I have Atlanta Metro, New York City Metro. I got all the apps. I take Lyft and Uber, and I take their scooters, and I take like buses and trains as much as I can because it's just cheaper.
Wow.
I have T-Mobile, and then I have Shell Fuel Rewards. So every Tuesday, I get 25 cents off per gallon of gas at Shell. And then Shell works with American Airlines. So every gallon I fill up, I get 2 miles on American.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so every Tuesday I get 20 cents off per gallon of gas and 2 miles per gallon of gas at Shell stations.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Even with all the social media money, you're still like,
I still
hey.
grew up in poverty.
Yeah, I love it. Were you like, how poverty?
So, okay, it's weird saying, I grew up in Daytona Beach, Florida. And my grandpa was very rich, but he didn't want to like give handouts to my parents. So the greatest thing that he did, which is still a great thing, he owned the house that we lived in when I was a kid. But if he didn't, we would have been in cars and on the street.
Wow.
Yeah. So like we had enough money for like me and my brother to eat dinner every night, but like looking back on it now, I'm not sure how many nights my parents went without eating. Like I had food every night, but like I don't remember them like watching them eat dinner.
Wow.
So I'm not sure like they eat late or like we just didn't have. We never went out. We never went on vacation. I didn't get to go to Disney World for the first time until I was in my 20s, and that was because I moved to Orlando and met a friend who worked at Disney.
Wow, I guess that's why you have such a good Mickey Mouse impression.
Oh boy.
You had to do it yourself. You couldn't go.
Yeah, I just sat in the room alone looking in the mirror like, oh boy, aren't you a mouse tool?
Wow. Well, that's good to know. I'm glad people get a little more context for like, you see millions of followers, but you never know like how people get there or where they came from.
And I don't want, this is the one thing I don't want people to do is like, oh, Ben's a self-made. He dug himself out. Like, okay, I worked hard, sure, but I also lived in a house that was paid off. When I moved out at 16, I moved in with my friend and his parents.
Wow.
When my grandpa sold the house in Daytona Beach, and then I moved in with my aunt. Like, I was never like alone. I always had help and support when I needed it. Excuse me. So I wasn't like just one guy by himself fighting against the man. Those stories are so few and far between, and even when they do happen, I still question their validity because it's almost like in America, it's almost impossible to actually dig yourself out of poverty. That the system is built against you. They want to keep you poor. So any people that do try to be like, oh, it literally started from the bottom and now I'm here, and they don't say, also, I had a bunch of friends that helped and supported me, my family gave me a bunch of money and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, I never got, like, a giant handout from my grandparents by any means. Like, I was never given, like, oh, here's $10,000. Go chase your dreams. Like, I still went to college on scholarships that I had to get, and I still, like, my grandpa found a car for me and bought the car for me, but it was a 1996 Honda Accord, and he was like, you still have to pay for insurance and all that. And I ended up paying more for titles and tags and insurance than he paid for the car. He spent $500 on the car. I spent $750 on starting up insurance and titles and tags and all of that. So like there was still like a lot of like uphill climb, sure, but I always had help if I needed it. Like I was never alone.
You moved out at 16?
Yeah.
Are your parents around now?
Somewhere.
So they're not in your life?
I hope not.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I was just thinking like
my mom texts me sometimes, but I don't.
Nice video. That's like.
Well, yeah, she's a subscriber on my Patreon.
There we go.
Or
that makes up for lost time. Or so she says.
I don't look. I don't know.
That's the child support now.
That's the child support. Yeah, she texts me sometimes, but like I don't go visit all that often. Like I might come by once a year, maybe, and I like. And that's because I have shows in Florida, and like I'm in her area already. I'm like, she's going to give me food if I go, so I might as well stop by and get some food.
Wow. Whoa, dude. And is your dad?
He's somewhere in Florida, too. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't talk to him anymore.
Gotcha. Okay. This isn't a therapy session.
No.
But it was like, this went deep quickly.
Yeah, I will say I did start going to therapy, and I told my therapist a story about my, being a child and how I was raised, kind of. And she said, and I quote, I did not want to judge you before I met you, but that is the most Florida thing I have ever heard.
Your therapist said that?
My therapist said that out loud to me, and I was like, it's going to get worse. I was like, I haven't even told you about the time I jumped on an alligator. Like, this is another quote from my therapist, who I don't see anymore because
okay.
I didn't feel like I was so I have to find a different one. Anyway, that's a different story. Another quote from my therapist. This wasn't a quote to me, although I did hear it because I was in the room. This was a quote to herself under her breath. Oh, God, I hate parents.
Wow. It's almost like it was her therapy session all of a sudden. You're like, geez, it could be worse.
I don't even know what I had done to her at that point. I was just talking about my life, and she's like, oh, God, oh, no.
Yeah, therapy's weird. It's like it's like dating almost. You really gotta
yeah, you gotta
warm
find
up
the
and
one.
Find the one that's not gonna make you worse.
My therapist would laugh at me. Not like at me. I would just say things in such like a happy, nonchalant tone, and she would laugh because she's like, "People, you shouldn't be happy about this." I'm like, "I'm not happy. I'm just not upset." You know,
interesting. You shouldn't be happy. Oh,
but I mean, also the comedy thing. So sometimes I would write jokes about new terrible things that happened in my life, and she would like, "I want to hear the joke," and I'd be like, "Well, it's not gonna be funny in this context."
Yeah.
And then I would tell her the joke, and she would laugh, and she'd be like, "That's funny. It's also a problem."
Is this on Zoom or in person?
In person.
Oh, in person.
Yeah, I can't do Zoom. I have the ADHD will not let me focus.
Oh, I have to. I do Zoom therapy, and I have to turn off my self view. You can turn off self view, so it's just the therapist. So that helps. But
no, that would help for sure. But I would still like look around. Like I gotta play with this now. In person makes me feel more focused.
Like
I
focused and
think I don't know.
grounded.
I would feel bad if I started ignoring them to their face.
Yeah. That's true.
The computer makes it easy to do. Like there's no emotions in this computer.
Yeah. Well, let's go. Let's look at the positive here. That what is working. What is happening in your life right now? Of like you putting all this work and it paying off, and even like when you came through Atlanta last time, we DM'd each other back and forth, and you were in a smaller venue.
Yeah.
And then this time you're back. And you're in a bigger venue. So it seems like even since the last time you were here in Atlanta, it seems like stuff is growing even more.
Yeah. Let me tell you what that is. It's very simple. It's called fear.
Nice.
Yeah. We all live with a constant fear that if I stop right now, it'll all come to an end tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So it's just constantly trying to keep that fear at bay. I've gotten a little bit better at that. Like I can take a couple days off and I'm fine.
Great.
But like there's still just like this constant like, oh, if I stop now, I'll die. So I can stop. I've found a few things that definitely have helped me, and I will openly tell my friends like this is what I do. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, but this is what works for me. Like I put out a sketch most days. Like there's at least one sketch comes out every day. And in the comments of that sketch, I'll pin a comment of my next 4 tour dates, and then I'll reply to my own comment with my next 4 after that. So every time somebody watches the video without having to like cover the video in text and showing people where they're at or putting it in the description, because I found that like long descriptions like that sometimes get suppressed by the algorithm, they'll just open the comments and the first comment they see is from me of my next tour dates. And so they'll be able to go, oh, great, now I can check out the link in his bio to find out more information about that. I do that on TikTok. I do that on YouTube. I do that on Instagram. I do that on Facebook. Everywhere. I will comment my next 4 tour dates. I also have an agent now for comedy, which is great. He reached out to me, and I was like, I'm not going to lose anything by this, other than 10% of the money that I was going to get.
So he helps find all the bookings and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, he's been doing it. He said he's been doing this for like 30 or 40 years. If you look at his like roster, it's very silly because his roster is like the entire Wayans family, Benji Brown, Aries Spears, some small white kid.
Yeah.
It's just a famous black man, famous black famous black family, a child from Florida.
Social media star.
Yeah, it's insane. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll let you book stuff for me. And that's kind of how I got in with a lot of places. But there's still like, I have a Google spreadsheet of every club I've ever worked. I have the city, the state that they're in, the name of the club, the name of the booker, the way that I've contacted that booker, the last time I performed at that club, and how many people came to it.
Oh.
And so every time I go back and I look at that, I look for things that are now like about 8 months out from the last time that I performed there. and then I'll just message my agent. I'm like, hey, start emailing these clubs for these dates because I was there last on this date and we had this many people, and he'll be like, yeah, this is so easy for me. Because then he'll just shoot that email to the whatever booker. And he's like, hey, last time it's been about a year. He was here on this date. He had this many people in attendance. He wants to come back on this date. And they'll be like, boom, done. The less amount of work you can give the clubs to say yes, the better.
Yes.
If you give them just like, hey, I want to work at your club, they will not respond. If you say like, hey, I'm coming to town on this specific day and I would like to do whatever on this specific day, they're way more likely to look at that date and go, yeah, we have availability here.
Smart.
Yeah.
Are you that organized? Like with like your
Yes.
content and stuff too?
Absolutely I am.
Okay, yeah.
I have to be, or else I'll lose it all.
Oh, I guess that helps with ADHD. Because, I mean, dude, sometimes I'll be like, all right, I'm going to post something. I'm just scrolling through my albums. Like, I'm just like, I don't even know what I'm going to.
You have to get ahead on it. If you
Yeah.
don't have a schedule, then you're just going to get lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
You have to get on your own schedule that works for you because that's going to be the easiest way to stay on track.
Okay.
And then I also keep lists of like, here's like of the state stuff. I have like different subcategories. So I have like a new state joins the table is like one thing. And then I have the news every week that I do. I have one about, oh man, I have to actually look at the list because I forget. This is
So it's almost like you have like formats that you can just
Yes.
plug skits
plug
into.
it, plug and chug. Yeah, you have to make it as simple as possible for you to get that stuff done too, because there's always like this big hill of just getting started and doing it.
Dude,
So if you can
yes.
make that hill as low as possible, you're way more likely to get over that hill, because once you're over that hill, it's easy. Once you get started, it's easy. So right now I have table news and then I have table intros.
Okay.
Those are the regular ones. I also have one called How States Act. So I just take like a regular run-of-the-mill everyday thing that people do, and I put how would the states do this differently? Like how would the states drive? And then I just hop in my car and I write like a bunch of like one-liners from every state about how it's different driving in every state. With like a couple like very niche or like regionally specific jokes from each state, and then people from those states love it. You know, I'm doing one about like how states would act walking in on you changing. And so it's kind of like they bust in and go, oh my God, and then just like walk out. But it's like the oh my God is now like Florida would be like, oh, I was already taking my clothes off. Like,
Right.
I guess we're doing this together now. Like Louisiana walks in, sees it, and just tosses beads. Like that's just like very regionally specific stuff. I have a series about weird laws. So I go very in-depth, and I do a lot of research about, like, the weirdest laws in every state. And I don't just, like, Google, like, here's a list of weird laws, because most of those aren't real. So I don't put that out.
Yeah.
I actually go into, like, the actual penal code from that state or the city specifically, and I read through every law on the books in those states to find the weirdest ones.
Dude, I mean, even like your Georgia stuff, like I was like, some of these are like super specific. Even like I was like, oh, he really goes deep on this research.
Yeah. I've had somebody describe it as the way that I tell jokes is I'm having fun with and not making fun of.
Yes, the people in those states actually enjoy it.
Well, I get a lot of my information from people in those states. Like I'll post on my Facebook and I'll say, hey, this state is coming. What do you guys know about it? And a lot of people, like 100 or 200 people from that state will start commenting very specific regional things about that state. And I'll just make a list, you know? I have another one called Fun with Names, where I just look up every legally incorporated city and town name in the state, and I'll just make a list of the silly ones. And then I'll just go through and make jokes about each one, as if, like, that one is like the government sits down and goes, hey, state, are you ready to name your towns? And they'll go, yep. And they'll just start naming the weirdest fucking places in that state. And I'll get a lot of people that comment, be like, oh, I live there. That's so weird. Oh, I've been there. That's such a funny thing.
Makes it more shareable, too.
Yeah. Very like I have a lot of pockets of fan bases just in the most obscure places, because I've done jokes about those very obscure places.
Wow.
I have a weirdly large fan base in Alaska, because I do jokes about Alaska, and they're like, nobody talks about us.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's not accurate, you know?
uh-huh.
So they'll be like, we appreciate the accuracies, and we love this, you know? So I've got fans in, like, every state, which is super cool, but it sucks because I don't want to go to Alaska. It's so cold
For the
up
right
there.
check, though.
Yeah.
That was so Florida. It's so cold, though.
Money's not real. The temperature is. And the last one that I do is a sketch called Florida Man in SoCal, which is it's like a kind of a personal thing because born and raised in Florida, 25 years. I just moved to Southern California a year ago. Oh, wow. So this whole thing is based. I shoot it more like a reality TV show, and it's just based around the similarities and differences that I've noticed coming from Florida to now living in Southern California.
Oh, wow.
Like I moved from Orange County, Florida to just north of Orange County, California. Disney World is in Orange County, Florida. Disneyland is in Orange County, California.
Incredible.
They're known for oranges, both of them. Like they're known for surfing, both of them. Like they're known for beaches, both of them. Like it's just insane the amount of things that are so similar, but the people could not be more different.
Oh my God, I bet.
And that one's just a fun one. I've gotten some pretty good feedback about that one as well. So like I've kind of more or less gotten these like structures that I now just research, plug, and chug.
Yeah.
Because it's way easier to sit down with a thought of, I'm going to write weird laws about Missouri. Now I can sit down and actually start working on that. Whereas sitting down with nothing, you just kind of go, I don't know, man. It just feels like such a big, it's a mountain out of a molehill that you've made.
That's what it feels like right now for me, thinking like, okay, cool, I'm getting some cool ideas. I would like to start with a molehill and like work on consistency. But it's like, would you recommend it's like I just brainstorm, I just make a list of like possible sketch ideas, or is it even more like things about my life and then go from there? Like
I think you got to find out how you kind of want to do your sketches first. And again, the only real advice I can give anyone is just do it. So everything that I'm giving right now is just advice that worked for me.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work for you, you got to find some new stuff. I'm sorry, but you got to figure out what kind of sketch stuff you want to do. Whether it's just going to be, ranting in your car or like sitting down and talking to yourself and you have two different characters where one's like weird and chaotic and the other one's the straight man, or like however you want to figure out what you want to do with your sketches. And of course you have your stand-up. So already on your list you have stand-up clip. Right. So boom, day one you can sit down and be like, all right, what's the next thing? Stand-up clip? Perfect. All I'm going to do is go through and find a stand-up clip. Do you want to do... What kind of stuff do you want to talk about? Like, do you want to do like the silliness of regular everyday things? Okay, great. So now you have your subtopic there is just like regular everyday stuff. And inside that subtopic, you can talk about like, waiting in line, going to the bank. You start getting that list of, those regular everyday things. And you can even break that down farther of like, what is a silly thing about waiting in line? What is a silly thing about going to the bank? And you break it down into such specificity that it's easy to take that line of like, oh, it's weird that we have to go to a bank to deposit cash instead of just taking a picture of it and then shredding it, And that is now, you take that topic and you go, this is where I'm starting. And you write from there. It's way easier to take that than it is to sit down and go, what's funny?
Exactly. Yes. Okay, that makes it way more approachable. Because I'm married, I have a dog. I have a comedy special called The Trophy Husband. So even that makes me think of maybe doing like skits about like a trophy husband or something.
Perfect.
That I can film at home.
Exactly. So now you have your stand-up clips, and then now you have trophy husband. And you can break down different aspects of being a trophy husband. Maybe interpersonal relationships with other trophy husbands could be like a whole category. Interpersonal relationships with guys that want to become trophy husbands. Giving advice on how to be a good husband, but in silly ways. What are things that you think make you trophy husband material that your wife cannot stand? And like reenacting all of those things in like very silly ways. You have all of these different categories and subgenres that you can start with, and then every day when you sit down, you're like, oh, it's trophy husband day today. Okay, today is a silly thing that my wife hates. And now you're breaking down, and I'm sure like as a human being who is married, you have already a list of very silly things, and you can just make that list out. And so when you break it down, you're like, trophy husband day, boom, okay, things my wife hates, boom, okay, boom, we're gonna do this one, the laundry chair.
And just a quick, like almost like a minimal viable product, just like a quick skit. Don't overthink it and just build from there.
Yeah, and if you want, like, 'cause what I would recommend is if you can write 3 of those and make them 1 minute a piece, You put them together, and now you have long-form content for YouTube and for Facebook because those bring in a lot more money. But they're also easily broken down into sub-1-minute clips for YouTube Shorts and Facebook Reels and Instagram Reels and TikTok that gets you a lot more views.
Mm-hmm.
I also recommend making a title sequence and a credit scroll because that adds like 30 seconds to your video already. If you just made 3 sketches and it comes out to like 2 minutes and 35 seconds, you're like, I need the 3-minute mark. Boom, 10-second title sequence, 30-second credit roll. Boom, you're over 30. You're over 3 minutes. Money.
Brilliant. And that's what it looks like, I guess, on the business side of it is most of the money from like being a social media comedian, is it the ads you get from these platforms, or is it like ticket sales? Like where's like the structure behind this?
I can kind of break it down because I don't mind telling people what I'm making.
Yeah.
So Facebook has changed up a lot of their monetization recently, but they still have the Facebook Reels bonus program. They have like a performance bonus program, which is like people interacting with text posts and photo posts and all that. And then they have their in-stream ads. All combined, I make about like $6,000 to $7,000 a month from Facebook.
Okay, and you have about 200 and something thousand?
I just crossed a $250,000.
A $250,000. Okay, cool.
Which sounds way bigger than saying 250,000. So just
but
crossed a
$6,000 to $7,000
$250,000
grand a month on one platform.
Exactly.
Sounds great.
TikTok doesn't pay very well, so you really don't have to spend a whole lot of time like just pulling your hair out over whether or not TikTok is doing well. I make like maybe $1,000 a month on TikTok posting the same content.
Wow.
Yeah. YouTube is the biggest moneymaker. It always will be. It always has been. I made $17,000 from YouTube last month.
Great.
And that's posting the 3-minute long form clip and then a bunch of the same clips broken down as YouTube Shorts. So they have the YouTube Shorts bonus program, and then they have the in-stream ads. And I make most of my money from in-stream ads. Like, where I'll make $3,000 from YouTube Shorts, I'll make $10,000 from in-stream ads. But you have to make people want to go see the longer form content. So I still post it, and then like the next day will come out the smaller episodes.
Gotcha. Post the long form and then the shorts.
That's usually what I do.
Okay.
Like I'll post the long form on Friday, and then Saturday I'll post the first segment of the long form video on my shorts.
Cool.
And I'll still get people commenting like, "Oh, I need to see part 2," and I'm like, "Well, here's the thing, bud. All you have to do is look at my profile, and the full video is there." And they're like, "Oh, cool, thanks." And so like I think those are my main 4 money makers. Mm-hmm. A lot of my friends make a lot of money from sponsorships. I don't do them because I'm really mean to brands. I am so mean to brands. I have told many to fuck off. I told one, give me one good reason why I shouldn't just put your entire company on blast.
Huh.
Yeah.
Even if it was like a hat company to be Florida, though, something simple like that.
But those people are cool. I'm like, yeah, you want to help out? Like, I've worked with a candle company once because they just made a candle for me, and they're like, we want you to have this candle.
Aww.
And they didn't ask to work with me. I was like, I'm going to talk about this candle now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working with a board game company now. And they literally, like, I reached out to them, and I was like, I like what you're doing. And they're like, we don't have the money. And I was like, but you have the board games.
It's the opposite. You're like, I don't want the money. I want the stuff.
Yeah, I just want the thing. And the only brand deal that I accepted was for this education company. They're like, we want to make education affordable and accessible to people, so we have this app. And I was like, that's a great thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did that for them. But, like, I got, I won't name them, but a dating app reached out to me. And they're like, we'll pay you $900 for this video. And I was like, are you the dating app? And they're like, yes, we are so-and-so, the dating app. And I was like, okay, I'll do it for $20,000.
Yeah, that sounds low, yeah.
And they were like, okay, well, that's a little bit out of budget. How about $1,100? And that's the company that I said, give me one good reason to not put your entire company on blast. Because you're trying to take advantage of unsuspecting, creators
that are uninformed.
Yeah, and they'd never email me back.
So is $20,000 like a typical brand deal?
Absolutely not.
Oh,
no.
I don't know what the numbers are because
well, it changes from person to person. It depends on a lot of factors. What is your following size? How much of that following actually engages with your posts regularly? Because you'll see a lot of people that have like millions of followers, but you look at their videos and it's like they only have like a few thousand views and like no comments. they've amassed this following over years and years and years of doing very silly things, and a few videos have popped off, sure, but like for the most part, their fans don't engage with their posts. So like that's a big factor. But the other thing is, this is what I tell everybody. You have to understand who you're replacing with that company. These companies are no longer hiring advertisers. They no longer have teams to make entire commercials for them. You are making a commercial for a company. You should be paid like it. And that's kind of what, that seems to be the wording that has gotten through the most, because there's a lot of people that are like, I don't want to charge too much. And I'm like, first of all, fuck these brands. Burn it down. Who cares? Second of all, you are making an entire commercial. You are writing, filming, producing, editing, posting an entire commercial for these companies. How much money do you think they've been spending on commercials up to this point? Tens of thousands of dollars. Why should it be any different? Because now it's you doing it. So always aim way higher than you think.
Yeah.
Let them negotiate. If you like the NBA reached out to me one time, and I said $25,000, and they came in with like $1,000. And I said, you're the NBA. I want $25,000. And they said, the best we can do for this program right now is $13,000. And I said, I guess I can make that work.
Nice.
And so if you just start out with $1,000 to work with the NBA, yeah, of course, you're going to get $1,000 to work with the NBA. And that's great. I'm very happy for you. But if you just took a moment to be like, nah, you're the NBA. Give me $25,000. Now you have $13,000.
And it's just to do the same format you've been doing?
Same exact thing.
That's great.
The same thing.
That's great.
So
wow.
Know your worth and then overshoot it.
Amen to that. Wow. Well, this has been a masterclass, dude. I appreciate you. Wow. I feel very inspired now. I will want to do it.
Make a schedule and then start.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's literally.
It's the only real piece of advice that anybody can ever actually give you.
It's like the advice I give people that ask me like stand-up comedy tips. I was like,
do it.
You got to get on stage.
Yeah.
You've really got to get on stage.
Yeah.
You can learn how to write a joke.
And people get so mad.
You have to get on stage.
People get so mad. Because like the thing is, I can make your jokes better. I can rewrite your jokes for you.
Yeah.
That will not teach you anything. And also that if it does teach you anything, the only thing it will teach you is how to write jokes in my style. Mm-hmm. You will never learn your own voice if you ask people how to write jokes for your entire career.
You have to get on stage.
Just do it.
Just do it, kids. Well, I mean,
drugs. No.
Where can where can people follow you or anything you want to promote? Because I know you're on the road a lot as well, which is another part of going viral.
When does this episode come out?
This one will probably come out in like 2 weeks, I'm thinking.
I'll be at home from the road at that point.
Oh.
My next show's after this episode
I'm
comes
sorry.
out. No, it's fine. I'll be in Ohio.
Okay.
Columbus, Cincinnati, Toledo, and Pittsburgh. I know Pittsburgh's not in Ohio, but it's close enough.
Mm-hmm.
That's October 4th, 5th, 6th, and 9th, I believe, are those shows. But that's all on my website. You can check me out, benbrainard.com. My last name is spelled Brainard, brain like the one in your head, A-R-D. And if you can't figure that out, try using yours.
Ben Brainard, thanks for being on Hot Breath.
Thanks for having me.
Kaboom.